is not going to haunt me. The ghost of Vince Lombardi isn't real. But there's an interesting use of that. And I think we're going to be seeing that more and more. The Super Bowl is always a place to test out some of that kind of tech. But there we go. Vince Lombardi was an actual guy. He's an actor. Apparently he's on a local PBS channel and he does some stage acting. But other than that, he's an insurance salesman, I believe, but he auditioned for this role and got it. So good for him. But there you go. The ghost of Vince Lombardi, the hologram showing up at the Super Bowl. A couple other things to call attention to, always with the commercials. And there's something that's been trending over the last week that was front and center during this for a couple of different reasons. You got to have both sides going into this. And I'm talking about the whole fiasco with GameStop, with AMC, with Robinhood, all of that right there. There's one thing you may have missed. I'll get to that in a minute, but you probably didn't miss the Robinhood commercial. So Robinhood coming out there. I think that what it says right there, Robinhood is tone deaf, 100%. So this commercial clearly was filmed a long time before what happened over this last week. But the entire thing that they're going for here is this idea that everybody can now be a day trader because it makes it very easy. You go on there, you can invest in whatever you want, you should be able to sell whatever you want. That's what they're kind of showcasing. We are all investors. However, over this last week, they stopped allowing people to do that because certain stocks got too high. I mean, we don't have to go into the entire details, but I think by this point, you probably know GameStop, they stopped you from being able to buy on those. AMC, a couple of other ones too during that, which kind of goes against the entire principle of what they're supposed to stand for. So they have this commercial that goes out. A lot of people very upset by that, saying, yeah, after this last week, that's just not how that works. So you have Robinhood on one side. Then you also had Reddit. Now, this was a quick commercial. You could have missed this because it was only 5 seconds long. You can apparently buy a 5-second commercial. So a normal Super Bowl commercial for this year was about $5.5 million for 30 seconds. Reddit said they couldn't afford that, so they spent their marketing budget on this. And it was this quick thing that popped up. I mean, I missed it, probably like a lot of other people. I didn't find out about it until afterward, but it was 5 seconds of just that kind of placard that went up. Now, if you take a look at it, there's no way anybody could read all of that in 5 seconds, clearly, but it goes through talking about, just to paraphrase some of it, big game spots are expensive, so we couldn't buy a full one. We were inspired and decided to spend our entire marketing budget on 5 seconds of airtime, which I did the math. If it works out as far as just increments, it's about $1 million, a little under $1 million for that 5 seconds. Then they go on to talk about how we did it. Powerful things happen when people rally around something they really care about. And there's a place for that. It's called Reddit. Clearly referencing the Wall Street bets and how they were able to kind of manipulate a lot of what's going on with these hedge funds and essentially screw over a whole bunch of hedge funds. So that's kind of what they were referencing with that. Interesting stance that they have, but I just like that both of those were on display at this huge event. And now Reddit's getting a ton of press just based on this 5-second ad. So it proves even if you do something for 5 seconds, it could make a big difference on the Super Bowl, but something to pay attention to there to see where that goes. The final thing I wanted to bring up, there's always a lot of entertainment when it comes to the Super Bowl, and we saw commercials for all kinds of things. I just want to call out the one that was my favorite, which is the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is going to be coming out, and that one I think is dealing with Captain America. It's the follow-up for the Marvel series, and that I am very excited about. So that is something that I'm looking forward to. I think it's going to be great. It's coming out next month at the end of WandaVision. Also, quick note, if you haven't watched WandaVision, you should watch WandaVision. It's pretty good. WandaVision is pretty great. So there we go. That one, going to be out. There's going to be a lot of fighting. It's action. It's probably really nerdy and dumb, and that's why I like it. So continuing on here, there's some other things that are happening. Now, I brought up Twitter as a point where, of course, everybody's sharing on this about the Super Bowl, about the commercials, about everything on Twitter. But Twitter now, and this is confirmed to a report to CNET and Bloomberg, is looking at ways to change up how they make money. It's one of the things Twitter's always had an issue with is how do they make money on this platform? We know the ads, the promoted spots, some of them get really weird sometimes, and that's how Twitter makes a bunch of their money. But they're looking at different ways to now change that up so they're not as dependent on these targeted ads. So a couple of things you could see happening: a tipping system where you would pay people to follow for exclusive content. So I guess kind of like in OnlyFans for Twitter. I don't know what that would be, but you pay them for their exclusive tweets or videos. That's a possible thing. So a tipping system along those lines. There's also the idea of changing TweetDeck, which if you manage more than one account, you probably have used TweetDeck. If you haven't, it's a great platform to do that, to kind of manage different things and schedule out tweets. They may change that into more of a paid system. Do we have to pay to do that? I'm kind of surprised they haven't done that already. There's also one for an unsend option where if you paid into this program ostensibly, we don't know exactly how it worked, you could unsend something. I don't know how that's different than just deleting it, whether it's just, you send a DM late at night that maybe you shouldn't have, and you can unsend it so they don't know it ever happened. Maybe that's what they're going for with that. I'm not entirely sure. I think, though, clearly the one thing we all need when it comes to Twitter is the ability to correct misspellings and grammar on tweets. And I have an idea for that, for how you can turn that into a paid thing. Clearly can't have everybody doing it all the time because these are supposed to be public records for a lot of them. And so I get that. But what about this? What about if you got like a 4-hour window to where you could change up just the grammar side of things? You can't change up the context. You could have somebody, maybe there's a checking system to verify of what you're doing, but you could fix a misspelling or fix your sentence just a little bit, but it costs you 50 cents a time to do it. So it's 50 cents, you get 4 hours, and you could try it out. Now, I think that would work. I mean, I'd be willing to shell out 50 cents every now and then instead of deleting something where I just vastly misspelled a word or really horrifically put out a sentence because I have big thumbs and I write really quick. So I would be willing to do that. Twitter, I'm just saying that's a possibility. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. We are live right now, so you can drop in your comments there. But if you have another idea of how they can make money and change this up, I don't really like the idea of paying for exclusive tweets. But then again, maybe I'm not the target market for that. Maybe that's something everybody else wants to. But that's my pitch to Twitter. All right, continuing on. Some other big news here to start the week off. This is something that really brings cryptocurrency further and further into mainstream, and that is Tesla now buying up $1.5 billion of Bitcoin. We've seen Elon Musk post about Bitcoin before. I believe even on his Twitter description right now, he might even have hashtag Bitcoin, or he did at one point. So he's a fan of cryptocurrency. You see him posting about Dogecoin all the time. But now with this, putting in $1.5 billion of their assets into Bitcoin, they're saying gives them a different way to kind of have their money, different kinds of liquidity with it. There's all kinds of financial terms that go into that. But I can just say what it did do is it drove up the price of Bitcoin today on the stock market. At one point, it was about $43,000 per Bitcoin. In case you didn't know, that's up from, I believe it was like maybe a month ago, it was down to like 30. It fluctuates quite a bit, but this is going up about a lot, really, over this last just day since Tesla announced that they were going to be doing this. So that's a big push right there. And if they do that, they also said that this could lead to buying a Tesla with Bitcoin. So they would be one of the first major companies to really allow this kind of thing, especially a car manufacturer, to where you can purchase a car with Bitcoin. That's a big move right there. And he did say that it's going to be coming at some point. So Tesla heavily investing in Bitcoin, $1.5 billion, driving that stock up. If you're one of those lucky people who has some, make sure you keep track of your password, because there's a lot of people who lose their passwords. There's some guy who just lost another $60 million because of that. Keep track of your password, but also hold on to it for a little bit longer. I think that's going to go up. No financial advice from me. I am clearly not a financial advisor, but things look good for that. All right, continuing on. Let's give you one more thing here to round out just some news to start the week off, which is what we do here with the Inbox with Greg Nibbler. So continuing on the Elon Musk train, because he is always making news, let's talk about the Boring Company. If you are unfamiliar with the Boring Company, it is exactly that. It's the idea to bore holes in the ground to alleviate traffic concerns. They've been doing it in Vegas. There's one that's going to be at the Las Vegas Convention Center. They're talking about running it all the way over to a bunch of the casinos on the Strip. And there's other places that have talked about instituting these tunnels, because you go underground, you alleviate traffic, whether it's with autonomous vehicles or you put your vehicle onto a track and then that runs it through the city. Now we're talking about Miami, where their mayor said he has been speaking to them about doing it under the city. Now, normally the price tag on something like this is pretty high, and apparently Elon Musk is saying they could do it for $30 million and get it done in 6 months. That's a pretty bold statement if you're thinking about building an entire new highway underground, essentially, in Miami, depending on how they institute it. So this would be about a 2-mile long one. That's huge. To do for $30 million, if he really could pull through with that, that could change everything, because the previous estimate for something like this was in the billions, and it was multiple years to get it done. So I don't know what's really changed since then. This seems like another one of the things where I kind of don't really believe they could get this done for that. But even if they're in the ballpark, that could change a lot. I love the idea of less traffic. Putting something underground like this, I think would be pretty cool to see. But again, $30 million in 6 months to build a 2-mile tunnel under Miami. That seems a little too good to be true to me. But pretty cool, though, to think about where that could go. If we're not going to get flying cars, at least we'll get underground tunnels. It still doesn't sound as cool. But nonetheless, that is what Elon Musk is doing with the Boring Company. So just another little piece of news there to bring you up to date with everything that is happening in tech. Clearly, there's a lot that happened with the Super Bowl, a lot of other tech commercials that were out there. You can analyze those, watch those. A lot of them were for products. Some of them good, some of them boring. Seemed like there was just a lot of, celebrity drops, which I guess is typical. But I do like the idea that current things that are happening in tech, in particular with the stock market and the manipulation of that through Robinhood and Reddit, that was front and center on there. Pretty cool. Will we get more Vince Lombardi holograms? I don't know. I'm probably good with that, but maybe we'll see some more coming up. We'll have to find out about that. But regardless, I thank everybody for joining us. Again, this is The Inbox with Greg Nibbler, part of 2Box Media, TWO Box Media. So you can follow us, whatever social media platform you are on, hit that subscribe button, watch the shows, share the shows, let other people know about it, and send us comments. Let us know what you think about what we brought up. I want to know how you think Twitter can make money, because obviously they've got to. How do you think they should do it? What do you think is the right way that you would, accept as far as how that would work? What would you prefer? Send us an email. You can always do that, info@twoboxmedia.com, greg@twoboxmedia.com. And again, I thank everyone for joining us. On behalf of myself, Mike Solis, Jess Serba, we will be back on Friday with another episode of The Inbox.